then we could hear from, let's start with the floor. Any questions that you would like to pose to either Franci or then Rassie? Franci used the opportunity to reflect back on the journey that they embarked on, and then Rassie then also actually tested the boundaries in terms of where are we moving towards, in a sense. Any questions?
Maybe to Rassie, I think one of the biggest problems for the past 20 years is that we've been talking about the next generation, digital learning environment, and this thing about not to be locked in or to be recolonized has been a theme. And we at Southern African universities talk a lot, but don't implement much. And I don't think it's necessarily a bad thing, because one thing about academics in general is that to get them to work on exactly the same thing is like herding cats, or to try and think that you are going to move a cemetery with the help of the inhabitants.
It's an interesting way to reflect on that. Hopefully we're not a cemetery. We're not bones that needs to be awakened. But I agree with you, Saki. I want to take a step back. When we as a country, and now we are mandated by what's happening in South Africa, not to just talk, keep on talking, but to start doing something. Because I don't have the figures now, but and it's been in the press, how many students applied online. The online registration last year at most of the higher ed institutions, it was online registration. So, if you look at the number of students that applied online and the number of students that we could admit to our institutions, we're losing generations of young people that can't study. Now, the question once again is, do they qualify to study? I want to take a step back, and I want to say the question is not anymore whether they want to qualify to study, but they are showing their intention by applying that they want to have access to higher education. So this is a national problem. How do we confront it? Do we keep on talking about, for example, creating an environment that's enabling to receive them? Or do we come together as a community in Southern Africa, use the mandate given to us by South Africans, and then decide what this environment look like, agree on, for example, interoperability, common standards, so that we can confront face this challenge given to us? Or do we keep on working in silos and keep on just admitting a small number of the students that apply? That would be, I know this is a national problem, and probably I'm not a politician, I'm definitely not a politician, but I also don't want to be one of the graves in the graveyard. So, that would be my short answer to that.
Any other questions? Think back at Franci's presentation, anything that's something you'd like to...
Thank you very much. Two fantastic presentations. What do you see as the resource to fund this unfulfilled need? Suppose we can organize ourselves to fulfill this need. Where will we get the resources? Because it will probably not be possible to do it with the current resources. There will be an error. Where are the opportunities? Is it simply the government as usual, or what can one expect from those students who would love to enter higher education, but probably have personal financial challenges? What's the gap? Is it a vision that we should share amongst the government institutions as well, who facilitate the future, who have, I think, our country's interest at stake? Is that the answer, or where do you think does the answer lie?
Well, that's a difficult question, because well, personally, I believe the answer is not in approaching this as individual institutions. So that to a large extent will already provide the combined resources of all the institutions going forward. So I can't answer on behalf of government, but I believe if we as institutions come together and we present a unified approach, that government will see that we are serious in terms of addressing the mandate given to us. What happened with the UCDP, the University Capacity Development Grant, is exactly this. The government is providing funding, but then they said we should use this to develop capacity. Now, if this capacity development, if it's possible to do the capacity development in terms of a unified approach, that will be a strong message to government that we want to take on the mandate. So this is in terms of us as institutions, and this is one of the personal beliefs that I have, that we should work together in South Africa. If we can show that we want to work together, I believe that this will be a strong voice that the government will have to listen to. So I don't know whether that answered that.
Could I add to that? Yeah. Yeah, perhaps we've had lots of presentations on MOOCs. Let's say all universities work together, each providing their MOOCs. That could become part of that ecosystem. And of course, it is the issue of the accreditation of the MOOCs. But that is a way that universities could work together. And we've said we've got MOOCs, very few, and not necessarily South African MOOCs. So that is an area we could look into, seeing that we are now into the future. Yeah.
Just adding to the previous question, I think industry needs to step up and become part of the discussion. We now know already in the past 20 years, or and right, that government is totally unable to deal with this, and pushing innovation through grants, which is a short-term solution, does not work. There needs to be industry boards that liaise with universities that would nationally influence what is expected of graduates and working towards attaining that through investment in institutions beyond government, because that is not sustainable.
To add to that, I would just have to say that we are educating students for careers that will not exist in 5 or 10 years. So in order for us to ensure that we are going to be around as institutions, we need to look at unbundling the curriculum in a way to provide micro-credentialing and also to close the gap between industries and look at more skills and look at our curriculum where we can offer the student of the future and the workforce of the future.
Great. Hi, this is a question for Franci. So you mentioned that you chair about moving fully online position now. And I just wanted to ask you if you could say something about the change that's been, the change that you had to put into place, infrastructure and also in terms of capacity development, to move from kind of evolving the blended environment to something that's fully online, or was there not much? I mean, what did you have to take? Or what's it taking? It's taking a lot.
And the resources, the capacity, that's what you asked. Yes, fully online is now absolutely not the only thing that we're going to do. We will still have our on-campus, our blended, and the fully online. And capacity is a problem because you have the same component of staff members. And let's just look at instructional designers, for example. It is a scarce item at most universities. So we have one per faculty, but now we had to divide. We are 7 instructional designers. 3 of them work now on the fully online, and it is very, very labor intensive. And then the other 4, or actually 3, we have some interns, are now there to, and as you said, Saki, things are not just going to change overnight. We have to deal with where we are now. So you can't leave everything, and now everything is online. So you still have to pay attention to that as well. So, yes, capacity is really a problem. And also, we spoke about it yesterday, boundaries. Who does what? It is something new. You don't have somebody to focus on this, somebody to focus on that, somebody to focus on that. For that project, we had one project manager, and Lihana joined us now. And yeah, what we can perhaps say, just a next development, and that is why Lihana was also appointed, is retention. We spoke about the dropout now. 50% of the students dropping out. So academic retention is very important, and we are now that we've got our first programs up and running, and still a long way to go. And exponentially, the student numbers grow with every intake. Like we said, we've got 6 intakes per year. You really have to be geared to give that support and to try and use this great opportunity, but not to let the students fall through the cracks. So it is a challenge, and it's not going to go away overnight, and it is a journey. Yeah, I hope that answered it. Okay.
And maybe I think we should rather look at the next generation learning philosophy. And I think when we look at that, as you say, it's not technology, it's more like the philosophy, the thinking behind it. And the first thing that I see as change that needs to happen is going to be a bit of a knock, especially on the traditional universities who's got a very own unique individual curriculum. The universities of technology and some of the comprehensive universities, and especially the TVETs, have got a national curriculum. So at least when we look at that, you can say that, one size fits all. Then the technology that's in that institution is not a problem. The capacity needs to be able to bring in more students. We know about the massification of making the learning available to more people. But the more we differentiate in terms of different curriculum, the more difficult it is to have sort of a single learning environment. Because it will not be, the MOOCs are just a very small thing. We talk about, I think we spoke about something like about 10 or 15 different MOOCs in South Africa now. And you all talk about something like about 4,000 or 5,000 courses per institution, which are about 6,500. So it gives you an idea that if you multiply that with a capacity that we don't have, you're not going to have uniform learning modules that you can, we should rather start looking at the learning environment as collecting badges so that you can study various components of various institutions and units, and that they all, you collect badges, and that badge at the end of the day will be presented to one institution who will be issuing that qualification, and then immediately you find that institutional pride to say, sorry, I'm not going to accept something from X, Y, Z. So I think the philosophy needs to change first before we even think about technology. That's my answer.
I just want to, Saki, there's an interesting, I don't know whom of you know about the Open Educational Resources University. There's currently an OER university, a drive towards this university, which is a global university, and they're currently in the second year of a normal BA qualification in terms of the complete development. It's a degree that's based on OERs only. It's a degree that they're currently negotiating across borders with governments to have this recognized in terms of the credentialing in that specific country. And I believe there's about 32 countries already on board. So what will happen is the cost of this degree will be in terms of the assessment only. Participation will be in terms of the OER and the product that's being developed from OER. The cost will be the assessment only, and credentialing will be done by the governments that subscribe to the idea of an OER. And this is exactly what you are saying, Saki. So we do have a case study already in the go. So what I personally believe is that we have enough will, although we still see ourselves as the graveyard, we have enough will in this country. We are given a mandate, and I believe we should exercise on that mandate with the will that we have. And this is what I've experienced at this colloquium. I hear a lot of people talking about the will in terms of what needs to be done. And if we can get together, JP, and thanks once again for the opportunity, if we can agree with one another that this will not stay at this colloquium. Prof. Martin, I've mentioned it to JP this morning. Prof. Martin yesterday in so many words said, I believe he said that in July, I've heard it, in July they are meeting with a three-day workshop with all the vice-chancellors of the university in the SADC region. Maybe we should consider from this colloquium side to give them our voice in terms of what we believe should happen with teaching and learning. This change in philosophy, change in direction, so that the vice-chancellors, at least at that workshop, hear from us. This is the way that we think that we should be going.
Rassie, thank you. I think we can continue this conversation still for ages, and we have lunchtime now, so please continue with the conversation. I would like to extend my thanks to both colleagues for very thought-provocative presentations. Colleagues, do enjoy your lunch, and as Joseph mentioned this morning, please, we hope to see all of you back at 2 o'clock. It's tempting at this stage, but that's where the conversation is going to start, and that's how we determine the way forward. So we see you back here at 2 o'clock, please. Enjoy lunch.